You are tuned in to Nerd Overload, your weekly show for video games, movies, TV shows, comics, tech news, and more. This show is sponsored in part by IDE Computers. Now your hosts, Sam Dunham, Cody Pinnick, Samantha Cross, and Josh Harrison. Hey everyone, welcome to Nerd Overload. Thanks for tuning in. This is the show that covers everything in pop and geek culture from Amazo to Zapdos. I'm one of your co-hosts, Sam Dunham.
I'm Josh Harrison.
I'm Samantha Cross.
And I'm Cody Pinnick.
We have a lot of news to go over this week and not a whole lot of time to do it, so we're going to jump right into some things that we've been checking out this week.
Me and Cody saw a SpongeBob movie this week.
And it was pretty good. It skewed a little more little kiddish than even the show. I mean, it's SpongeBob, so yeah, it's going to be for kids, but it was a little more kiddie than even the show is.
Really? Interesting.
But one thing, the trailers, not like the movie at all.
Really? Because the trailers I've seen have been like really good. Now, I did kind of expect it was going to be like a big 2-hour episode of the show, essentially.
It basically is.
But so how were the trailers? I mean, we probably don't want to spoil it. It's a brand new movie, but how were they different? I guess
the live action stuff that most of the trailer is about maybe the last fourth of the movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
The vast majority of it is just traditional 2D animation, which looks really nice.
The colors are really, really good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah?
And it's funny. There's a lot of good jokes. A little overabundance of fart noises, but you know.
Yeah, kids movie though.
Yeah.
How was equal funny?
Yeah, yes they do. Now, how were were there any like special guest voices or anything like that? Because I remember the original SpongeBob movie had a ton of like surprise voices and stuff.
The live action pirate was Antonio Banderas.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
He was being all goofy and.
He was really cartoony.
Is that a technical term?
Yeah.
All
Waving
right,
his
all right.
arms around and dancing around, basically.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There was a space dolphin voiced by Matt Berry from IT Crowd, the guy that plays their boss. Not the first boss, but the second boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
The
okay.
ridiculous voice.
Yeah. He's really funny. He's
I
probably
can't even do an impression.
that's probably one of the highlights of the movie was this dolphin character, but
You can't spoil it, but.
yeah.
Okay.
But you know, if you got a kid to take to the movies, you're not going to be banging your head against the wall the whole time. It's pretty entertaining.
Well, that's good. That's good.
I've been playing Adventure Time: Secrets of the Nameless Kingdom. I mean, it's a little older now, but I just kind of been kicking around wanting a new game, and it's Adventure Time. It's basically Legend of Zelda with the Adventure Time skin.
Nice.
Nothing wrong with that.
I mean, it's actually really kind of hard. I get really frustrated really easy with it. I knew I was in for a good time when the game starts off. And you get into the story. It's like they're like, you know what time it is? Top-down adventure time, and it's like done in like kind of 8-bit graphics. It's a lot of fun.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right. Very cool. Very cool.
That's about it. Really.
Oh, that's about it. Okay. Well,
TV.
I did check out one thing this week. I've actually checked out a couple things this week. Actually, if you go over my Twitter, I tweeted probably the best episode of Chips I've ever seen in my entire life. But I'm not going to talk about that, although it included police officers that are also ninjas fighting against John Rhys Davies and his atomic missile that was disassembled by ninja magic. Episode of Chips. But that's not what I'm going to talk about. Instead, because I've somehow become known as the Power Rangers guy in our circle and beyond, I guess, I watched the pilot episode of the newest season of Power Rangers Dino Charge. This is the third time they've ever done the dinosaur theme. Mighty Morphin was the first. Dino Thunder was the second. And recently, Power Rangers has not been very good. The last couple seasons were incredibly boring, even for a children's show. Which,
Megaforce was the worst.
Yes, it was. All of the characters were two-dimensional. They had no personalities. They were like... The main Red Ranger from that series, Troy, was basically a cardboard cutout. Yeah. that they would move around in frame, basically. I mean, I
never really liked him.
There was no story plot. There was nothing. As a contrast, this pilot is actually really surprisingly good. The characters have depth. They have motivations beyond, we are the good guys and we need to fight the bad guys. The bad guys are compelling. The main bad guy, Slade or Slag or something like that, he is of course he's an alien, like you do.
Yeah, Power Rangers does.
But instead of just being a bad guy for the sake of being a bad guy, he's a bounty hunter And there's actually a scene in the opening where he's like walking through the brig of his ship, and all these monsters are chained up and like in prison and stuff, which is going to explain where he gets all of his monsters for the season. Instead of creating monsters out of thin air to go menace some weird town that may or may not be in New Zealand, because they film the last like 5 or 6 years in New Zealand because it's cheap. It's super cheap. Instead, he's going to be like saying, hey, I'm going to set you free, but you got to do this one job to go down and get these gems, which are what are powering the Rangers this season. They're called Inner Gems or something like that. It's a MacGuffin. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, they've introduced 4 of the 5 Rangers, main Rangers. Only 2 of them have their powers after the first episode.
Oh, okay, that's kind of nice.
It's interesting. The main red is, and it's a really diverse cast. The main red is Latino. The Pink Ranger is black. She's African American. This is the first time in series history that there was a black Pink Ranger, like in 22 years of the show being on air. The Blue Ranger is Indonesian, and he's actually a stunt actor.
Huh.
Yeah, he's actually worked his way up through Saban. He started off with like the traveling like roadshow Power Rangers. He was a suit actor for that.
Okay.
And has actually worked himself into like a real job. Fun fact, he also really loves the Japanese version of the show.
Oh, he really loves Sentai?
You look at his Twitter, he's constantly tweeting about the Sentai series and
all
the
that's
Japanese
awesome.
stuff.
I like that.
And the I think he's the Green Ranger is he's from New Zealand, and they're actually told him not to hide his accent this season because a lot of the actors, because they film in New Zealand, are from there, but they all have to put on fake American accents. The Green Ranger is also not very likable. He spent the entire 5 minutes that he was on screen rolling around on a skateboard and hitting on the Pink Ranger. They even call out that he's from New Zealand. She says, hey, does that line even work? The girl's, overseas, and he goes, no, it doesn't really work there either. That sort of thing. But anyway, if you like, it is, at the end of the day, it's still for children. It's still a children's television series, but it is leaps and bounds better than it has been. And that's good.
I remember when Super Mega Force premiered, you and me were watching it at the same time, and we were texting back and forth like, this is bad, this is bad, this is terrible. This is real bad.
Because I've made it a point to watch the pilot episode of, every season. I don't watch the whole thing, but, just the pilot episode. And, this was like night and day difference. And it's because I think the guy's name is Jed Lynn. He was a writer from early on that has come back and is the producer showrunner for the show. And he, cares about the show. And he understands that kids can handle a little bit of plot development and a little bit of depth to their television instead of just explosions and fighting and explosions, that sort of thing.
All right.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to a little bit of news. Let's go ahead and get the big one out of the way. Earlier this week, news broke that Sony and Marvel Studios has come to a agreement allowing Spider-Man, the amazing webhead himself, to appear in Marvel Studios films.
And vice versa.
And vice versa. Yes, meaning Spider-Man can now be seen in movies alongside Captain America, Iron Man, the Hulk. And this is amazing.
Oh,
Finally, we're going to get the Civil War movie we deserve.
Yeah. So, a little bit about going into depth with it. Sony's still going to hold filming rights to it. The movies are still going to be made through Sony. But they are being overseen by Kevin Feige, Feige. I always forget how to say his name.
I don't know.
Tomato.
Tomato. They, who has been in charge of all of the Marvel, the MCU, the Marvel Universe movies from the get go, and his first appearance is going to be in a Marvel movie, and then go do his own thing in Sony films.
Yes.
Captain America, right? It's going to be the
Civil War.
They haven't said.
So far, what I've read, that's pretty much what they're saying.
That's what everyone's saying, and I agree with it. I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, him and Black Panther.
Yeah,
even though I really don't remember Black Panther much in the Civil War comic.
I have a feeling Black Panther is going to pop up in Age of Ultron near the end.
Oh, really?
I think I heard that somewhere, that there's a good chance.
There's a good chance because they've already cast Chadwick Boseman, which when they did the announcements, he came out on stage and said, "Hey, I'm Black Panther. How you doing?" And they have Claw, who is a very deceptively named sound-based villain who has been cast as a Black Panther villain.
Yeah. That's pretty much what they're saying. Andy Serkis is who he's going to be. Yeah. Anyways, the other couple things that came out from this, Andrew Garfield is no longer
a
Oh,
part of it.
did they officially say that?
Yeah.
He did.
Oh.
He said that he is not interested. He's ready to move on to something else. So he said that this is a good break for him. This is time for him to break from because he wasn't too happy with the filming of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Oh, okay.
Although from the way it sounds, no one was really happy with the filming of Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I liked Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I thought it was a good movie.
I mean, I had fun.
Yeah.
Okay, is there any more you could ask? You know, I had fun. That's good enough.
Well,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But and the other thing is Sony is still going to move ahead with their a movie based off the Sinister Six, which are Spider-Man villains. So they're going to continue with the Beyond franchise kind of stuff, but it's all going to be technically in the same realm that is
Yeah.
Iron
I heard there
Man,
might be
Avengers and
a
stuff.
Venom movie at some point too.
I heard a Venom movie. I did not hear anything about the Aunt May movie that they tried to shop around.
Well, I'm kind of glad they did.
I'm hoping that is gone
Unless
for
she was
good.
going to marry Doc Ock.
Yeah, that would have been a good one. That would have been a good one.
I heard Spider-Man might be Miles Morales.
That
There
would be
is that
cool.
rumor flying around.
There's a
too.
good chance that could
That
happen.
would
I
be
would
cool.
be so excited.
Yeah, why not? I mean,
Yeah.
we've
I
seen
like Miles Morales.
Yeah, we've seen Peter Parker how many times now? Let's do somebody else.
Yeah, I just hope they don't do another origin. I'm
Yeah.
so tired.
Oh yeah, we don't need
of
that.
origin films. I'm
Like,
ready for
seriously,
that trope
how
to
many
be done.
times can we see Uncle Ben get killed? How many times can we see Spider-Man almost go over the edge and almost kill the guy who killed him? How many times can we see Bruce Wayne's parents die?
How many times can Spider-Man walk away from the trash can that he's thrown his web suit into? Because that is in every second Spider-Man film, he has to give up being Spider-Man for a while. It's like a thing, Yeah.
It's lame. So I'm kind of excited. Okay, I'm kind of excited, and I'm kind of nervous about Netflix doing a live-action Zelda.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah,
I want to be hopeful.
I mean, it is Netflix, and they've been doing really great stuff. But again, it's a live-action adaptation of a video game character who doesn't speak.
Yeah.
Well, I trust Netflix because they're not stupid. They're not gonna purposely put out something that's bad.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm still to this day burned real bad about Super Mario Brothers.
yeah, that's where most of my hesitation comes from.
Sure.
But
Now, are you talking about the movie Super Mario Brothers or the TV show, the Super Mario Brothers Super Show
No, the
with
Super
Captain Lou Albano and Danny Wells?
that show is fantastic. I'm talking about the movie.
Okay, good.
Which I
Good.
do love, but not
the way that it was intended to.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
agree.
it's one of those movies that it's like a Sharknado. It's so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
You spend the whole time wondering how it happened. Like,
Yeah.
Why did Nintendo sign off on this?
Well, anyways, with this Legends of Zelda thing, I don't know. I think it'll be all right. Yeah, the main protagonist from the game's Link. He's a blank slate. There's really nothing to him. But if they surround him with a decent enough supporting cast, I think it'll work out.
Didn't Netflix describe it as, was it Game of Thrones for the family?
yeah, which
What
is
does that mean?
yeah. There's nothing Game of Thrones about Zelda
No.
Yeah,
unless
there's no political intrigue
Yeah.
when it comes to Legend of Zelda.
Yeah.
There's a king, there's a princess, there's an evil guy. That's pretty much it.
Well, you mean they could add it in? I mean, Ocarina of Time is it Ocarina? Or-
Ocarina.
Ocarina of Time did have a little bit of. It hinted at
yeah. You look through the window at one point, and the Ganon's
Ganon's
talking to the king.
Yeah.
and I mean if they highlight some of that, and I mean I think when they said a Game of Thrones for the family, they didn't mean like any of that stuff. I think they just meant
How
it's
fantasy.
a
setting.
high fantasy setting that everyone can enjoy.
Yeah, Game of Thrones is Hollywood buzzword for fantasy now.
Yeah, which is kind of really deceptive, actually.
Yeah, it
because
is.
Game
Yeah.
of Thrones is a low fantasy universe.
Yeah, and I mean, this show could work because you guys remember the movie Legend with Tom Cruise?
Oh, I love that movie.
It's
With Tom Curry as the Prince of Darkness?
probably the closest thing to Legends of Zelda, the movie, that we've ever gotten.
Kinda, yeah.
Kinda. I mean, I could
like Legend of Zelda with Last Unicorn kind of thrown in there.
Yeah.
I'm just worried they're gonna have to make up so much stuff.
But Nintendo is working with
Maybe.
them, and there is
Yeah.
a lot of Zelda lore out there.
There's a lot of lore, but there's not a lot of plot.
Yeah.
No, Princess gets captured, Link saves the
Yeah,
day,
get-
talking tree, da-da-da.
Get X number of things and save the day.
And here's a musical instrument thing.
Yeah, in
Well,
every
then-
game.
Well, then you know what? Make it like Lord of the Rings light with Zelda skin on it.
Yeah,
essentially,
I guess there's not a whole lot of overarching I mean, Lord of the Rings is take the ring to the mountain.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Everybody walks in those movies, even the trees.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic. I think it'll turn out okay.
Yeah, I'm never one to shoot something down before I can actually see it, so I'll give it a shot.
While we're talking about games, Cody, you were telling me about the Atari's making a new Asteroids game?
Yeah, apparently they're picking up the old Asteroids franchise and making a new game out of it. It's apparently some sort of... It's called Asteroids Outpost.
Really?
And it's apparently some kind of open-world multiplayer free-to-play thing.
What?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Apparently you have a little outpost in space, and that's what the game is. There's not a whole lot of details on it yet.
Okay, do you shoot asteroids? That's all I'm worried about.
It was not clear.
Really?
I'm sure you do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this sounds almost like a jump, kind of like what Star Fox Adventures was.
See, if I was going to make an Asteroids game, I think a little bit of Minecraft elements would be a good idea.
Actually, yeah, that would actually
I
be
think,
cool.
yeah, you'd be shooting asteroids to collect ores and
Things, yeah.
things to,
Upgrade your ship or, do whatever.
or your outpost or whatever, like
Yeah.
they're doing in
If
this
you're
game.
that dead set on that.
Yeah. They weren't, there's not a lot of info yet, but I don't know.
We could hope, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the people behind it is Salty Games, which I've not heard of them either. So we'll see
It could
how
really
this
go
goes.
either way.
Yeah, who knows?
But you know what? I mean, when you have a franchise like that has like no plot to it, you can pretty much do whatever you want.
As long as you have rocks in space, you pretty much nailed it.
Yeah, pretty much. Well,
I hope it doesn't turn out like there was like that late '90s revivals of arcade games for like CD-ROM.
oh yeah,
Yeah, there's like a Centipede one.
Oh,
and
God.
like,
Yeah, that was
remember that.
awful.
Yeah.
that was pretty rough.
Dark times.
Yes, yes. All right. Well, hey, speaking of old franchises and properties that are kind of getting picked up again, possibly. Did you guys hear about Mel Brooks talking about the possibility of Spaceballs 2, The Search for More Money?
Oh no.
That's been like a rumor for like ever.
Well, they mentioned it in the first movie. That was a joke.
Well, I know, but I remember a few years ago people were talking about it.
Yeah, but he's actually really starting to consider it. There's nothing in stone yet, but he was on the Adam Carolla podcast.
Okay.
And he made they were talking about it, and I actually have the quote pulled up here. I'm going to read it. I'm not going to read it in his voice. I'd rather respect the man than do a terrible Jewish
Impersonation
impression
of his
of his voice. But he goes, they ask about the future of Spaceballs and stuff, and he goes, I'm thinking now if I did a movie that came out after Star Wars comes out, maybe a couple months after, I'd have a big weekend. No matter what, even if it fell on its ass and didn't make its money back. For the first weekend, the anticipation of seeing Spaceballs 2 would... I still have Daphne Zamunga, who was Princess... what's her name?
Oh, yeah. Oh, I can never remember her name.
God, I can't remember.
I love the movie, and I can't think of it. Vespa.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Vespa.
Oh,
Yeah,
you nailed
Princess
it.
But he says, I still have Daphne Zamunga, and I still have Rick Moranis if he'll do it, and they still have me. So, which kind of leads to a question I have. Rick Moranis retired from acting.
He won't do
He's
it.
done. Do you think there's any possibility of it?
No.
I guess it really depends on how much he really cares about it.
Yeah. Because and the other thing is he the short version of why he retired, his wife passed away. She died of cancer, and he wanted to raise his kids.
Yeah.
He wanted to be there for his kids. He didn't want to be constantly running on set and stuff.
Yeah.
Which is really admirable.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
that's a
Oh,
really
yeah.
good
No,
thing.
nothing against him on it.
But I would assume his kids are probably getting a little bit older now, and he did put out those couple of country albums.
He did.
Yeah, oh yeah,
Comedy
yeah,
country.
yeah. The Neurotic Cowboy. Yeah, that was his first album. Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's legit country, like Canadian country. I don't know. It's weird, but I don't know. I think if the filming was right, and if it were, he wouldn't be like the major villain. I think, but if they had it like a cameo or something,
I can see him doing a
him
cameo.
like going down for one day and shooting a couple scenes here and there, and coming back.
Well, yeah, it shouldn't be that hard because I'm pretty sure most of that would just be on a sound stage anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the other thing that kind of was interesting about the quote from Mel Brooks is the I don't know, I guess the approach he's having towards it. Less like, I want to make this good movie because it's funny and people want it, but more, this is a good cash grab. Star Wars is coming out. I may as well try to make a buck. I don't know. What do you think about that?
It is called The Quest for More Money.
That's true. That's very true.
He hasn't really done anything in a while.
Well, he's like 90 years old.
Well,
Of
I
course he's
know.
not
I
gonna
understand
do a
that.
whole lot.
I mean, he looked terrible in the producer's remake
Yeah.
when he popped up there at the end.
I will say he probably won't need a whole lot of makeup to reprise his role as Yogurt. Yeah.
I don't know. Because the Spaceballs cartoon was not that good either,
Oh, no.
It wasn't.
No, it was not.
and I'd be kind of a little worried about that.
I don't think he was involved with the cartoon all that much, was he?
I don't know.
It was also on G4.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
I mean, I think it would depend on the writing.
Yeah.
I guess, but I don't know. I almost feel like it's kind of like this thing is I'm tired of remakes and
Yeah.
people just grasping for name recognition on things.
Yeah.
I mean, if he wants to make a new movie, great, make a new movie.
Yeah. But, along the same lines, I do like Spaceballs an awful lot.
I do too.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong.
and
I
do-
love Spaceballs, and I quote it a lot.
And as much as I hate to be a bummer, Mel Brooks films are probably going to be a finite resource.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
let's
is
be
true.
honest.
This is true.
If we can get one or two more,
Yeah.
that's great. You know what I'd love to see if they got the writers for Gallivant to come in and do a script and have Mel Brooks put in a couple things here and there and just kind of because it would fit. It would fit.
I was going to say Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Well, there you go.
my
That'd be
God.
perfect.
Oh, that'd be great, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty great.
Because everything they touch is gold.
Yeah.
Lego Movie, Jump Streets.
Yeah, basically just Lego Movies, Jump Streets, but that's
Yeah.
okay. But hey, Clone High was great.
Yeah.
It's a good
also,
show.
the fact that Jump Street and Men in Black are getting a crossover. That's a totally
Seriously?
separate thing.
Are
Yep.
they? I hadn't heard
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
Really, I'm
yeah.
surprised. you
News
had
to
it.
me.
Yeah, they're talking. They're going to do like a crossover movie together.
Nice.
Like I guess they somehow exist within the same universe.
I guess.
I
I don't
don't know.
know.
That's just something I've read.
Also, both Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs movies are
Oh,
fantastic,
those were-
too.
yeah.
They
I
were
have,
behind
I
those.
have also still yet to ever see those.
We have them both. You're going to have to borrow them.
Okay.
All right, cool.
All right, and I think we can do one more news thing before we take the break. Let's go ahead and get the tech thing going. In the UK, they have been testing hands-free vehicles, which is pretty cool, and they finally got a pass to allow public testing on public roads, which is a huge step forward in my goal to be able to go to work and not have to pay attention to the road. So yeah, what do you think about that? I mean, it's a pretty big thing.
It's the future.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the eventual lazy dream of everyone is to be able to like just get in a car and not have to worry about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I tell you, sometimes if I'm out and about and it's late, I don't want to drive, and I don't want to call an Uber or whatever.
Probably save lives.
Yeah.
Possibly,
Like
but
drunk
also,
drivers
but at the
and-
same time, though, you could have the same problem as technology does fail at times.
That's
I wish
true.
They could do safeguards though.
Safeguards can fail too. I mean, I guess there are pros and cons to every thing. Is when I think of like hands-free cars, two films come to mind. There's Jurassic Park, where the cars are on rails,
Yeah.
and then there's Demolition Man.
What about Total Recall? Remember the
Oh yeah, the stupid robot taxi with the stupid puppet head.
what that? That's what I want.
That's creepy. That thing is like Uncanny Valley, like ridiculousness.
You remember that kind of?
Vaguely.
The driver looks like the dummy from Goosebumps.
Oh, that's great. Oh God.
But
yeah.
no, I think like Demolition Man, where the car goes on autopilot and it just drives itself.
And I mean, cars are getting that way, anyways. I mean, they have the collision detection on some of those fancier cars and
Yeah.
stuff.
And then some of them have that parallel parking assist too.
Oh, that's wonderful. I love that.
I almost never parallel park anyway, so I
Yeah,
really
I don't even
Yeah.
attempt it.
I do constantly, unfortunately. But yeah, no, I think it's interesting. I mean, it's gonna we're never gonna see it in our lifetimes.
Oh, no,
for sure.
no.
Because even if they start putting out, if they perfect the technology and they start putting them out, it's gonna take a century before they're common enough that 8 out of 10 cars are self-driven.
It'll probably take a lot of infrastructure work,
Yeah.
too. They'll have to put
Yeah.
sensors.
Special roads.
Yeah.
I'm almost imagining like that opening scene of Lego Movie where everyone's like going in unison and stopping and going and stopping and going. That's pretty much what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Little worker ants just going around.
I still want my Jetsons flying car.
Oh, yeah.
Where's that?
In the
Who's working on that? Yeah, in a briefcase.
I just want my Jetsons job where I go in and push a button for 8 hours.
Yeah.
Space sprockets.
I don't know. I mean, it could be cool, and it could save a lot of lives, but at the same time, what if there's a storm? What if power gets knocked out?
What if the civilian detection goes off on one and they're at a stoplight and someone's trying to cross the street? People are stupid and they try to walk across the street as quickly as they can. Jaywalking and stuff. People who are driving can stop for jaywalkers. I mean, it's a nuisance, but not self-driven cars. Who knows?
What if they become sentient and decide that they're tired of driving you to the corner store every day?
What if they start turning into robots and wage a 1,000-year-long war against their evil counterparts, the Decepticons?
Oh my! Oh, I thought maybe Michael Bay was behind this.
Yes. Well, there's not enough explosions.
Oh, yet.
And poor plot.
Yet.
But anyway, let's go ahead and take a break. We'll play a little music, and when we'll get back, we'll talk about some more news stuff, right?
Yep.
This show is sponsored in part by IDE Computers, with sales and service, Delaware Avenue, Marion.
Hey, we're back. That was the Aquabats' Lovers of Loving Love. Seemed appropriate with this being Valentine's Day. The Aquabats are a great band. They're one of my favorites.
Oh, mine too.
Yeah, we've seen them a couple times.
Mm-hmm. Really rowdy shows, though.
Yeah,
surprisingly rowdy shows.
Yeah, and ever since they have a kind of a kids show on the Hub, that channel. And so the last time we saw them, it was a good mix of rowdy punks and children.
Yeah, kind of a weird thing. Although it was fun to see all the kids mosh for the first time. That was pretty great. Crowd surf and stuff. Yeah.
When the Aquabats themselves started throwing children into the audience was pretty awesome.
Yeah. And the thing you got to realize about the Aquabats, they dress up like Batman 66 henchmen. So they're all wearing the same weird super suit kind of thing. So it's like these weird men in super suits and skull caps throwing children into a crowd during a rock show.
Yeah. Well, the Cleveland police looked on from the balcony.
Yeah.
It was a good show.
Yeah.
And they're a great band. Go check them out.
Yeah. So speaking of things that pertain to television, boy, that's a hell of a segue.
Oh, man. Well, in really depressing news, Jon Stewart is retiring from Comedy Central's The Daily Show.
Yeah, when his contract runs out, I think he said September.
Oh, it's an end of an era. But has he said what he's going to go on and do?
No.
He said he was going to have dinner with his children on a school night.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. God, it's so depressing. First Colbert and now Jon Stewart.
I was broken up about Colbert, but for some reason this hits me harder, and I don't know why.
I think it's because he's been doing it for so long.
Yeah. I think, 17 years, I think?
Yeah, almost 20 years. He's been the host of The Daily Show. Now, granted, he's not the first host of The Daily Show, but he's the most, prolific.
He made it good.
Oh, yeah.
He's what made the show good.
He is The Daily Show.
Yeah.
I vaguely remember when Craig Kilborn was the host and not liking it, but then again, I was probably 8.
Yeah, this is true. I was not quite as political then as I am now, but it was always really funny.
This is going to sound weird. I can almost see him going into some kind of politics at some point.
Maybe. Well, I know
nothing major.
Well, I know Colbert. I know Colbert's taken over one of the late nights.
Like Al Franken did.
Yeah, become our generation's Al Franken, kind of. Yeah, I guess. But,
okay, I'd see it.
Oh yeah, sure.
I'd vote for him.
Yeah. But no, that's interesting. Do you think he'll try to respark his acting career? Because remember, he did have one at one point. He's in Big Daddy.
That's
an Adam Sandler film.
He's leaving to film Big Daddy 2.
There we go.
Bigger Daddy.
I was gonna say either that
or
The
Return of Frankenstein.
Either that or his award-winning role in Half Baked,
or Death to Smoochie.
Death to Smoochie, right? Yeah,
I like that movie.
It's a good movie.
It's a funny movie.
It is a funny movie.
It took a while for me to get into it. It took me a couple tries, but
God, Half Baked.
Yeah.
I don't know. I definitely see him going into something more serious than
We need to just direct that movie, Rosewater.
That's true. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, maybe he liked directing
Maybe.
So much
that's what
he
it
doesn't
is.
want to do his daily show anymore.
Yeah. So is the Daily Show ending, or are they finding someone else to take over his spot?
It sounds like they're going to replace him, but I can't even imagine who you would get.
About to say,
Bee.
Sam B? Okay.
It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Who's that?
Samantha Bee. She's a correspondent.
Oh, really?
on the
Okay.
show.
Oh, is she the?
She's the blonde.
Okay. Okay. See, I don't have cable, so I can't watch it all that often, and I don't go searching it out because I'm usually asleep when I'm not at work. So
more often than not, once in a while, I'll catch it on like Hulu or something.
Yeah.
yeah, I need to search out some of it.
Yeah, when I run out of other things to watch on Hulu, I pretty much default to The Daily Show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is really sad.
What
Actually,
about-
I'm
what's-
really depressed.
What's the Jessica No,
Jessica
Walters
Walters?
is from Archer and
Arrested Development.
yeah.
Williams?
Yeah, Jessica Williams.
It was close.
She's hilarious. She's the correspondent on The Daily Show.
Okay.
She did the thing about catcalling that really went viral.
Oh,
yeah, I did see
okay.
that. I'm just really bummed out. Actually, I really like the Daily Show, and I really like Jon Stewart. Of course, I'm just glad they're all moving on to do bigger and better things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But from that Jon Stewart, I'm going to jump to another Jon Stewart.
Ooh, now that's a good segue.
Best segue we've ever had.
Oh man.
In an interview recently, David Ramsey, who plays John Diggle on CW's Arrow.
Okay, who is John Diggle?
John Diggle is Arrow's Oliver Queen's bodyguard slash
Driver.
slash. He helps him. He's part of Team Arrow.
Sidekick.
Yeah, he's kind of like a sidekick. Yeah,
That's not Roy.
that's not Arsenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He sometimes goes out and helps things, and most of the time he's just kind of in the background a little bit sometimes. But in an interview recently, he was kind of cryptic and possibly alluded to being that John Diggle may become Green Lantern John Stewart, the second, or no, not second. I don't even remember now. He's one of the Earth Lanterns.
Second Silver Age, third overall.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. That's interesting. Now, will he be Green Lantern in Arrow, or will he be taking on the role of Jon Stewart in the movie version of Justice League? Because, unfortunately, for all of us, those are two separate things.
Yeah, unfortunately, yeah, because DC's being stupid with everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. He was talking in an interview and about the rumors about Diggle possibly being a Lantern, and he said, I got the quote pulled up here. Diggle John Stewart, I cannot say yes, and I cannot say no. I'm serious. I do know that there is a serious discussion about whether or not this guy can become Jon Stewart. Basically, he's just kind of hinting around. We've kind of talked about it. I mean, I would like to see them kind of embrace it because, the comics that ran forever back in the day of Green Arrow and Green Lantern running around together, aside the fact that they both have green in their names.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see the Arrow universe embrace superpowers a little more within Arrow itself. Because they've just been kind of running rampant with it in Flash.
Yeah. And I think that's why I like Flash better than Arrow, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
That plus Flash is just more fun.
It is a lot more fun, and Grant Gustin he's great. I like him as Barry Allen. I'd just like to see maybe something a little more fantastical in Arrow and not so I want to be Batman so bad, but I can't be.
Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting that, now that they have the Flash and Green Arrow and Arrow, screw it. He's Green Arrow.
He is
I don't
Green
care.
Arrow. He is Green Arrow.
Flash and Green Arrow have crossed over on the shows, which puts superpowers into their series. They can go ahead and just go all out with it now. They've broken the seal. They can just keep going,
I mean, I definitely think people are ready for it.
Yeah.
I know as far as I am concerned, I am tired of realistic superheroes.
Oh,
Yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah.
I've seen
Gritty.
Kick-Ass. I've seen the Christopher Nolan Batman films. Give me something that's just fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I enjoy Constantine a lot,
Mm-hmm.
and unfortunately, it's probably not going to keep going much longer. But it's got sometimes some great effects and sometimes some terrible effects. But Arrow and Flash kind of goes that way too. Sometimes some shots look amazing, and sometimes they just look terrible.
Well, that's CW.
This is true. This is true.
I mean, you're running on a television on a second-rate network television channel budget is what you're doing.
Well, yeah, and I mean, I just think people are ready for it.
I think they are too.
You know, almost like, you know, with this Supergirl series that might come out.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want superpowers.
Right. Well, you know, and we're going off script a little bit here with this, but did you hear anything about the Titans TV series that's going to be coming up on TNT?
Yeah, and I'm kind of excited.
And here's the thing with that. Here's what makes me really excited. The thing that they don't highlight in the articles that they put out. The production company that is doing Titans also does Arrow and Flash. So it's all set in the same universe. And because the main character is Dick Grayson on the Titans show, this means that Batman does exist in the Flash and Green Arrow TV show continuity. Batman is there somewhere.
In the Arrowverse.
Yes.
So we could stop calling it the Arrowverse then. We could just call it Batman's Playbox.
Or we could just call it the DC
TV universe.
DC TV.
DC TV.
I like that. That kind of rolls off the tongue of it.
Yeah, DC TV. Yeah.
Yeah.
We roll with it. DC TV.
Yeah.
Copyright. Boom. Us. Nerd overload. Yeah. And
Good.
I'm excited for Teen Titans because
I am too.
Young Justice was a great animated
Oh,
series.
this was the best. I love that show.
And the older Teen Titans
The old Teen
cartoon was great.
When
I loved it.
When it was on, it was really on. Some episodes weren't super.
No,
great,
but it was just great though. I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah. The cast lineup is kind of weird though. Have you heard any of that?
Let's see. It's they're going to start off with Dick being
Robin.
Robin,
But
and
he's
then
going-
by the end of season 1, he should be Nightwing.
Should be Nightwing, which is true with the comics. He went on to become his own hero. You know?
Yeah, and then you got your pretty much your Teen Titan staples with Starfire and Raven.
Yeah, which is interesting because that's both magic and aliens.
Yeah, superpowered laser beam shooting alien.
Yep.
Did they say Cyborg?
Cyborg
No.
is not part of it.
Okay, that's right.
And I have a theory on that. It's because Cyborg is part of the Justice League movies.
Yeah, because in the New
And
52,
he's going to be getting his own spin-off movie.
Yeah, in
so
the New
they're probably
52
gonna try
was
to
never a
keep
member of
that
the Titans.
separate.
Who else was in there? I don't remember.
Batgirl, Barbara Gordon, but she's
As
going
Oracle.
to be she's going to be
Oracle,
in the wheelchair, which also means there is a Joker
Yep.
in that universe,
Yep.
which is interesting and opens up a whole lot of other options.
Possibilities.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Hawk and Dove, which is kind of a deep cut.
Oh yeah, because they're going with the second Hawk and Dove group,
Well,
aren't they?
first Hawk, second Dove.
Yeah.
Originally, Hawk and Dove, they were
brothers.
They are superpowered brothers that are the embodiments of war and peace.
Order and Chaos. I don't
They-
remember now.
In the comics, they serve the lords of order and chaos, but they are the embodiments of war and peace. Hawk is war, Dove is peace. They were brothers. Dove died.
Yeah.
Being pacifistic, and then the powers were transferred to another woman. Her name was Dawn Granger or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were partners. They didn't like each other at first, and then they fell in love. And then, as most comics do, it ended very badly. Which is why it's weird that they're going with these characters. And I mean, their powers are kind of lame. They're strong. They're super strong and can fly.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, it's easy. I can see why it's easy to do that on television.
Yeah.
That's like the easiest power to show on television.
But also, I don't understand because were they ever a member of the Titans?
No.
See, that's where I'm a little sad.
Again, that's their TV writers can't get off of the love triangle ideas.
Oh,
so you have those two characters that have relationship issues, and then you have the Robin, Batgirl, Starfire triangle.
Yeah.
Which I guarantee is something that they'll bring in to the show because they can't help themselves. They can't not write really lame love stories.
I mean, there's more story tropes out there than love triangles. People, come on,
but
now.
it's the easiest one. It's
is.
the lowest common denominator.
It hooks people, unfortunately.
Yeah. But getting back to this Green Lantern thing, it's interesting that they would do this if they introduce Diggle as a Green Lantern on the show and as the TV version of Jon Stewart, who is he's the Black Green Lantern.
Yeah.
It's the easy. I mean,
I mean,
there's a lot more to him than that. There's a ton more to him. Than that, but
the parallels are there. I
Yeah.
mean, Jon Stewart was former military, except he's an architect. He's not like private security or anything like that.
Right.
And that helps with his constructs, but.
But anyway, the point I'm making is that would make it kind of weird for the books because the TV writers Kurtzberg, I think his name is, for Arrow is currently writing the Green Arrow comic, and they've just introduced Diggle into that book. So now there is a Jon Stewart and Diggle as two separate characters in the comics.
Yeah.
Which if they try to they try to make everything from the TV series match the books, or the books match the TV series, whatever. It's going to make it kind of weird gray area.
What if he is Jon Stewart in disguise?
And on the show, that would be fine.
Who showed up
in the
to
comics,
kind of mentor him.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that's true.
I don't know. I mean, I almost want to see Diggle become the Lantern.
That would be cool.
Because I don't want him to already be one.
Right.
I mean, he's kind of mentored him all along. Like, it would work.
Yeah, it would work. And I guess, speaking of the books, I guess it wouldn't really matter as much because DC is getting away from continuity-heavy story writing and also doing away with the New 52. So
nice segue.
Yeah, thank you. Of course, if we point out the nice segue, it stops being a nice segue. But whatever.
I suppose.
Yeah. Anyway.
We've become self-aware.
Yes. Anyway, yes, the DC is dropping the New 52 moniker, which being 4 or 5 years into the New 52.
5 years.
They're not really new anymore.
No.
And with this, they're canceling a whole bunch of books. They're starting up a whole batch of new books, and they're going to have, by the end, when everything's said and done, 49 titles instead of sticking to the hard 52 books that they have putting out, which I came up with the name the Sublime 49. I mean, if they're going to be naming it things, why not? Anyway.
They should send you a check.
There's a whole slew of books that they're going to be putting out, and I'm not going to go through every one of them because that would be kind of monotonous, but I do have some highlights here, and we can kind of go down and kind of talk about them real quick. The first one, right off the bat, is a standalone Black Canary book, which she's always been... Yeah.
Yeah, she's always been like a supporting character.
She has. She's had her own book a couple times, but for the most part, she's been either a Batgirl supporting character, which she is currently in the one done by Alex Tarr,
or Green Lantern, Green Arrow.
Green Arrow. Yeah, and she's getting her own series.
It looks really cool.
It does.
Like that one image they've released. She looks awesome.
Yeah.
She's still rocking the fishnets and leather jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're returning her to the fishnets and leather jacket because she didn't have that currently, right?
At
least at one point she didn't.
I don't even remember.
The New 52 redesign, I think they removed the fishnets, but they're bringing it back.
Oh, okay.
They're going with the classic, leather jacket design.
And apparently she's in a band or something?
Yeah, I think that book is going to tie heavily to the new Batgirl, which is great.
Yeah.
I feel kind of bad. I'm a little behind on that one.
Yeah. Let's see. They're ending Constantine, the one based on the ill-fated show on NBC, but it's coming back as Constantine: the Hellblazer, which
is funny because his original book
was called Hellblazer, and it was a lot darker and stuff, and it's that's really cool. That's really cool. It's being written by a comic artist named Ming Doyle, which I'm a huge fan of. Yeah. She's done a lot of really great work, and she's actually tied into Neil Cicierega and a lot of the stuff that he does nowadays. Yeah. But I like Ming Doyle's art. I think she's gonna be a great writer. She's also doing art for another one of the books on here, but I didn't write it down, unfortunately.
So is he going to tie into the Justice League Dark?
Well, Justice League, that's actually down ways on the list here. I was going to highlight the Justice League Dark is ending. Justice League Dark was the magic powers essentially.
Deadman, Zatanna, all them.
That book is ending, so the team is being dissolved. But another book is coming up called Mystic U, which is going to be just an overall. Any magic-based superhero in the DC universe is going to fall into this book.
So Shazam, Dr. Fate, all them.
Well, Dr. Fate's getting his own
title. Is he getting his own book?
But Swamp Thing, or any kind of story they want to tell that is not Aliens or Batman, they can put it into Mystic U and have it work.
Mystic U, universe. Oh, universe. Okay,
but they're just calling it Mystic U.
Oh, man, I was almost thinking like a mystical university, and I was all excited.
That would be cool.
I thought it was like Harry Potter College.
That would be. That would be cool. Writing down Harry Potter College. $1 million idea.
Call us.
Okay, anyway.
Get J.K. Rowling on the line. We've got a great idea.
Anyway, some of the other books that are interesting. Cyborg is getting his own standalone series, which is probably because
of the movie.
Yeah. Martian Manhunter, who I'm excited for, but I will probably be the only person who picks it up. Is getting his own title. Let's see.
Now that guy we saw cosplayed as Martian Manhunter at Mid Ohio will get it.
Oh yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was actually. Was that a really good one?
No, it wasn't. He was a sad green man.
That's right. Okay. I couldn't remember, but yes, you're right. Now that I'm thinking of it, yeah.
I'll just paint myself green and carry around a bunch of Oreos.
Yeah, that's kind of what it was.
Yeah, pretty much. Let's see. One of the weirder books is called Prez, which is a tie back to a '60s comic called starring Prez Rickard, the first teenage president.
Oh Lord.
Yes. It is a weird book. It only lasted like 4 issues back in the 60s, but they've actually used the character in a lot of the Vertigo titles to tell darker stories.
Okay.
And, Multiversity, the Grant Morrison book about the multiple universes and
Yeah, about
multiple
them
Earths and stuff.
coming together.
They put out a guidebook here recently, and one of the universes is like 60s cartoon DC universe, and it's the president of that universe's United States is Prez. And his name is Prez because his mama knew one day he'd be president.
Oh.
I'm not joking. That's in the comic. That's a line of dialogue. It's wonderful. It's great. He wears a red sweater with the United States seal on his chest, like the eagle holding the arrows and stuff. Yeah. Oh man, it's great. It's the most 60s thing you'll ever read. And I'm hoping that this book is also a direct throwback to that. I'm hoping. There are a couple others. We Are Robin, which is like no one knows anything about it, but it looks like it's a legion of street thugs who decide to save the day on their street by becoming the Robin Gang or something like that.
Huh.
That sounds kind of like the Sons of Batman, whatever that was in that one Frank Miller book.
Or like the in Dark Knight, the guys that are
I don't wear hockey pads.
Yeah. Yeah, like that, but they're all Robins. And actually the cover's actually really cool. The has a guy with a bandana on his head and a red, white and yellow Letterman jacket with an R on it. That looks like the classic Robin costume.
Oh, okay.
It's actually a really neat design. I'm kind of interested in it. Probably won't buy it, but I'll definitely flip through the first issue.
Okay.
And the last one I want to talk about real quick is a book called Section 8. It's a miniseries done by Warren Ellis. Garth Ennis. I get those two mixed up because their last names are very similar. Back in the 90s, there was a comic called Hitman. It was a weird book. He was a mafia hitman who gained low-level telekinesis and X-ray vision, and he murdered bad guys for money. And one of the issues dealt with a makeshift team of homeless people called Section 8. Including some weird villains. The Defenestrator, a guy with super strength that carried around a window. That his whole shtick was that he threw people out of the window.
Oh no!
And also one of my favorite heroes, the Dog Welder, who would literally weld dogs to evildoers.
No,
No, but the dogs seemed totally okay with it. The villains were pretty ticked off, but. He wore a welding suit and a bag full of trained dogs that he would then weld to villains. And they're making an 8-issue miniseries of this.
like drop acid. What am I hearing?
Yeah, weird stuff. I'm interested in checking it out. And you know what? We're actually getting pretty close to time. We do have a question, believe it or not, which is something that we could you can always ask on our Facebook page, facebook.com/Nerd Overload website.
Right.
I remembered it this week. You can also go to our website, nerdoverload.com, where the link is right there. The question is asked by power listeners Lloyd and Betty, who have a question about the Tick TV series back in the
90s.
late
classic.
90s, early 2000s. Was it early 2000s, maybe? The live
I
action.
felt like the live action
I
Tick.
think
That
we're
was
talking
2000.
about the live action here,
Okay.
yeah. Anyways,
I was thinking of the
asked,
cartoon.
was the Tick TV series ahead of its time, like the TV series The Police Squad, or was it just really bad?
I have recently actually gone back and I started watching it on Netflix.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence with it. I mean, sometimes it's terrible, and there's other times it is the most glorious thing of cheesiness ever.
Well, you see, they dance the fine line because it's purposely bad.
Oh, I know. I mean, I loved the animated series when I was younger.
Oh,
Yeah.
God, yeah.
Yeah, I need to watch the live action one. I only know the Tick
I mean,
from the cartoon.
it's got Patrick Warburton as the Tick.
It's perfect.
I mean, his voice is fantastic, and Oh man, and like it's really weird watching because you see all these actors in it that are like kind of bigger now that make little cameos.
Liz
in it.
Vassy, yeah, she's gone on to do some stuff.
And Ron Perlman was in.
Ron
an episode.
Perlman was, yeah, he was.
He was
in
like a fire-based superhero,
Wow.
like
Yep.
with a sidekick, and they had like this thing about the dichotomy between like heroes and their sidekicks.
Well, because they went to a superhero nightclub, and Arthur had to hang out in the sidekick lounge, which was a shack in the back.
yeah. I mean, and they were talking about it's. I don't know. I think if they went back and brought it back now, I think it would probably.
Which they're talking about doing.
Yes, I have read
for
that.
Amazon Online or something like that.
Amazon Prime,
that's a good
yeah.
pick. Yeah.
I think it would do better now that superheroes are the big thing right now.
Yeah.
Versus when it came out then, when it was more of a niche kind of thing.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
think it was ahead of its time, and I think it would work better as an online thing, something that's not on mainstream television, which is interesting because that is how Police Squad worked. For those of you who don't know, Police Squad was the precursor to the Naked Gun movies. It starred Leslie Nielsen and as Detective Frank Drebin, and it was basically half-hour episodes of the Naked Gun, essentially. Really great show. Lasted 8 episodes. Was canceled because no one cared. No, it didn't make sense to them. But then 10 years later they made a movie and everyone loved it. So
they've had a few movies.
they had 3. They had 3, and it actually really kind of revitalized Leslie Nielsen's career as a comedian. Because before that he was primarily a serious actor.
Yeah, I watched something like a while ago, like him being a serious actor. It was really weird.
Forbidden Planet is crazy because he's astronaut Steve Martin on a planet. Yeah, his name is Steve Martin.
Steve Martin.
But no, it's weird, 1, seeing him with jet black hair, and 2, not cracking jokes and mugging at the camera.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd like to see it come back. I mean, I always like the Tick, and I always feel Patrick Warburton needs work.
Yeah.
I mean, not that he doesn't work all the time anyway. I mean,
Wait, does he still have that show? The Rules of Engagement or
I don't think
whatever?
so. I don't think
the one that had David Spade and
No, I don't think that's
Probably
still on.
not.
everyone else that I can't name.
Yeah, I don't think that's on anymore. I don't
Really?
Yeah.
See, I never watched it when it was on, but I was on TV for like 5 or 10 years, I think. It was on for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think he still has that, but I
Yeah.
know he does. He has regular work on Family Guy and
Well, sure.
and Venture Brothers.
Venture Brothers. They should make a Venture Brothers live action movie, and he could play Brock.
He really could.
Yeah, he's big enough.
and James Urbaniak could just play Doc.
Yeah, because he looks like him.
Yeah.
For the most part. But no, that was a really good question. Thank you very much for asking. Again, you've been listening to the Nerd Overload show. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap it up here. Like I said earlier, you can check out our website, nerdoverload.com. Go on the Facebook page. We have Twitter. It runs pretty regularly, nerd_overload. I have a personal Twitter account, which I have actually been using, at Robot Caveman.
Bearded Midgetor.
And at NOD Cody P.
All right. And again, thanks for listening, and we will be back next week.
Yep. Thanks.
Same Nerd Overload time, same Nerd Overload channel.
The show is sponsored in part by IDE Computers.